Hare Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tad Bhaktaya Namo Anandalilamaya Vigrahaya Hemabadyavyasthavi Sundaraya Tasmai Mahapremarasa Pradaya Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste Sham Sundar Shikanda Shikar Smarha Sumurli Manoya Radhikara Sukhamama Kripanidhe Sufiyachana Kinkurim Kuru Tavevasmi Na Jivami Tayavina Iti Vikyaya Devitam Tamam Charanam Tikam. First of all, I offer my heart like flowers, thousands and thousands of times, at the feet of my holy master, my spiritual guru, Asmadeya Paramaradhatama Guru Pada Padma, Nitya Leela Pravishta Om Vishnupad Ashtotara Satasisimat Rupanugacharya Varya Shila Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj. What is this? Angels up there? The saints have two forms. One form in this world, they are saint. In Sanskrit that's called sadhaku, the form of a devotee. And they have another form, they are angels, the associates of God in the spiritual world. Understand? That is called in Sanskrit siddharup. So who are angels there appear as saints here. And teach us how to attain the beatitude of becoming eternal servant and associate of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. They know how to take us there because they have been there. They are there at all times. So first of all, I am bowing down thousands of times at the feet of my holy spiritual master, the angel who appeared in the form of a saint in this world to teach me the path of Bhakti and bring me to the divine abode. Secondly, I bow down again thousands of times at the feet of my Guru's Guru, and to his Guru and his Guru and his Guru, and all the great masters who throughout the ages have sacrificed everything and worked very diligently out of unconditional compassion to awaken the God consciousness of all the people of this world. This is the main ingredient of our spiritual life. When we give honor to those who have entered into the mysteries which have not yet been revealed to us, then their grace comes. And the more we give honor, the more their grace comes. And thirdly, lastly, but not leastly, I give my pranam to all the assembled wonderful souls who are here this evening. My pranam to you. spiritual life is not complicated. It's very simple. But still, we see many difference of opinions, and sometimes quarreling and so on, and confusion. Why? Because all the souls in this world are not in the same level of evolution. One life is nothing. Like one day at school. You learn something in one life, take it with you to the next life. Again, learn something again. So, just as in a school or university, there are the first grade, the second grade, the third grade. The subjects are the same, but the level of advancement is different. And what is possible in the higher grades seems impossible in the lower grades. When you learn 2 plus 2 is 4. 4 minus 1 is 3. Then 3 minus 4, oh, it's impossible. 3 minus 4, you cannot do it. Later you will learn a concept called negative numbers. Then you can say, yes, minus 1. So at a certain stage, something which is impossible later becomes possible when the person has made more advancement. So, the souls in this world, in regard to their eligibility for understanding God, we can make 3 classes. The neophyte, the intermediate class, and the advanced. In Sanskrit that is called Kanishta, Madhyama, and Uttam. Kanishta just means least, the lowest preliminary class, neophytes. Then Madhyam, the intermediate Adhikar. You can see English has come from Sanskrit. Madhyam, medium, intermediate. And then Uttam. Uttam. Up. English word up. So 3 levels of eligibility, and people on the 3 levels of eligibility, they conceive of God, of themselves and of the others around them in different ways according to their level of eligibility. So, it seems that there are many religions and differences between the religions. These differences are also of 3 types. These differences by which people become alienated from each other. So we'll call the first type, these 3 sectarian causes of sectarianism, we'll call them 3 components of alienation. There is one God. We are all in the family of God. We are all the sons and daughters of the same God. What makes us become alienated from each other? So the first component of alienation is visual. The visual component of alienation. So that first one is, we look different. Some are black, white, brown, yellow, like this. So physically we look different. And we dress differently as well. In some religions, when they go to the temple, they put on all white. In another religion, the priests, like in Orthodox Church, they put on all black. But their point is the same thing. They're dressing in a particular way to show respect, veneration to the divine truth. This is visual component. In some religions, like Christianity, when you go to church, when you go in the church, you have to take off your hat. If you go to a Gurudwara, Sikh temple, If you arrive, if you have no hat, they'll give you one. You cannot go inside without a hat. Exact opposite. In some religions, they will say, let us pray, and everyone will stand up. And in others, they let us pray, everyone will lie down. So, there is a visual component to alienation. We look differently. And then the second component is the practical component of alienation, that the practices are different. The practices themselves are different. Some are praying very loud, like now we're praying very loudly. And Buddhists are complete silence. In some religions, when you get married, like Christianity, then the bride and bridegroom, they have to walk down the aisle in a straight line. But in Hinduism, when you get married, you have to walk around in circles. Right? The Hindus, who are not sadhus or yogis, they shave the beard and keep a moustache. And the Muslims, they grow the beard and shave off the moustache. So in this way, by the visual component of alienation and by the practical component of alienation, so well, we are all different. We become separated into groups. The third component of alienation is deeper. It is the conceptual component of alienation. Different concepts. For example, one person will say, oh, you are born and you die, you have one life. And another one will tell, no, there are many lifetimes. Someone will say, God is like a king sitting on a throne. And someone will say, no, God is like a force everywhere. Like light. Someone else will say, no, God is the universe. The whole universe, everything in this is God. Pantheism. So there are different intellectual conceptions in regard to what is the ultimate truth. So this is the third component of alienation, conceptual component. Okay. So how many levels of adhikar, how many levels of eligibility are here? 3. And how many levels of alienation? 3. What is the first one? Visual. Second one?
Practical.
Practical. The first one is how you look. The second one, practical, how you practice is rites and rituals. And third one? Conceptual. Now we'll put these two together. The living beings on the first level of eligibility, neophytes, konishta, neophytes, they cannot overcome even the first level, the first component of alienation. They cannot overcome it. If you look different, you're different. That's it. Xenophobia. If you look different, you're different. And in addition to this, they are proud of their own look, tradition, and concepts and practices. They become so proud that they look down on those who have different practices and look and so on. And as their pride goes higher and higher, then their estimation of others goes lower and lower. Until they may even come to the level where they think those who are outside my spiritual conception have no soul. And they can kill them freely without any conscience. It happens. So these are where dangers come. These have the lowest level of eligibility for understanding spirituality. They cannot overcome the visual component, what to speak of the practical or conceptual. Now, the second level of eligibility, that person, his heart is more pure. When we speak of purity of heart, we mean the degree of attachment and addiction to sensuality. You see? The consciousness becomes polluted by contact of the senses with sense objects. So the more you try to taste and enjoy the world, the more your consciousness becomes polluted and goes down, down, down. So the modern life of the secular morality and hedonism, this causes the degradation of consciousness, because happiness is defined as enjoying the senses. So the whole society slowly becomes more and more polluted and goes down and loses the awareness of their soul and of the souls of each other. So those who have gone higher than this, and they have some self-restraint. So all religions tell, don't steal, don't kill. Even yoga, in yoga, first yam, niyam, then asana, pranayama, and so on. So yam and niyam, there are 5 yams and 5 niyams. This means the 10 commandments of Patanjali, 10 commandments of yoga. And they're also the same. Don't steal, don't kill. Brahmacharya, practice celibacy, all of these things. So, when a person has self-restraint in their life, their senses are not addicted, attached and hankering to the external objects so much. Now they come to the middle level, Madhyam Adhikari. Their consciousness is somewhat purified, and they can see, oh, you look different, but inside you are just like me. They can go past the visual component of alienation. They can see, oh, you put on a hat before you go in your holy temple. I take mine off, but we're doing it for the same reason. So we are the same. So they can see through the practical component of alienation. But one component is left. Even those who've come to Madhyam Adhikar, the intermediate stage of eligibility for understanding God, they struggle with the conceptual component of alienation. How can it be? God is a person or a force? There's one life or many lives? I don't know. So everything is different. They struggle with the conceptual component of alienation. They try to reconcile. But really, to reconcile the differences, you have to become blind. Because there are extreme differences. So, some will tell, we have a soul. But animals have no soul. So we can kill them and eat them. Another one will tell, no, all souls, they're spiritual, so all are transcendental, all are part of God. We cannot give harm to any creature, even an ant. So they struggle with the conceptual component of alienation. How can this be solved? The conceptual component is coming from the mind. Therefore, in order to understand reality, we have to know that reality is beyond the limitation of the material mind. Once someone said, to believe in God you have to be out of your mind. He was insulting someone, but actually he was completely right. You have to be out of your mind. Because the soul has 2 coverings. The first covering of the soul is this physical body. made of earth and water and fire and air, mixed together, some space as well. We occupy some space. And then within the gross body, there is the subtle body, made of mind, intelligence and ego. These three. So, all these are coverings of the soul. The mind, the intelligence and the ego are also material energy, but subtle. They will help you navigate through the material world. But the mind cannot help you understand that which is transcendental. So sometimes our consciousness is absorbed in the body. If we have ache or pain, or if someone is trying to enjoy food, or sex or anything, that time consciousness becomes absorbed in the body. And when someone is philosophizing, that time the consciousness is withdrawn from the body. And now consciousness is hovering on the platform of the mind. Mind and intelligence and ego. But still, the soul has not found himself yet. So to become free from the limitations of the thinking, conceptualization of the material mind, there is mantra. Man means mind. Tra means trayate, to deliver. That which delivers your consciousness from its attachments, infatuation, and absorption in the physical body and mind is called mantra. Mantra. So, if one will utter the mantra, or sing mantra, gently, softly repeat mantra in meditation, composed of the divine names of God, then the consciousness will rise up from the bodily plane, up from the mental and intellectual and egoistic plane, and then be situated in the self. So spiritual life is not complicated. Today we are speaking about three levels of eligibility. So the person who has the highest level of eligibility, they are the uttam. They go past easily the visual component of alienation. They go past easily the practical component of alienation. And they also know the art, how to transcend the conceptual component through samadhi. Samadhi means trance. Trance is the state where all the oscillations, fluctuations, and conceptualizations which are going on in the mind have been completely arrested. And when the fluctuations of the mind are perfectly arrested, then it's like the surface of a lake. If the water on the surface of a lake is moving, all the reflections in it are distorted. But if it becomes perfectly still, then it's exactly like a mirror. And in a mirror you can clearly see everything. So until the mind comes into the state of samadhi or trance, all your visions of the world are distorted reflections of what the world is like, not accurate. So by mantra, one attains the state of samadhi, and in that state of trance samadhi, then one has a very clear, crystal clear, pure, undistorted vision of the soul, and gradually of God. So those who have uttam adhikari, they have the highest eligibility for spiritual life. They understand how to go beyond the conceptual component of alienation. So they call everyone from all walks of life, come on, come on, don't quarrel. The more you try to think and understand with your mind, the more you become confused. And after, on the philosophical path of mind and intelligence, after meeting one obstacle after another, gradually you will lose your enthusiasm even for the search. Your enthusiasm for the search will go down also. And then skepticism will set in. So don't go there. Everyone come together, and together we will sing, we will glorify God, and each person can individually experience samadhi. After that, we're all in agreement. If you or see God, then you will not quarrel with anyone. So, a mantra. We're chanting this Hare Krishna Mahamantra, whatever name of God you like, you can sing. But we are recommending these Sanskrit names. Because if you'll choose a name for God, then what do you say? What is God? God is good. God is G-O-D, generator, operator and destroyer of the world. God is Allah, great. God is Buddha, intelligent. You can create so many names as you like. But if you have no realization of God, does your name, to what degree does your name encapsulate all the qualities of that being? Understand? You see, in this world, we find ourselves in essentially a hostile environment. We are assailed from all sides by the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune. And so we have to protect ourselves by healthy foods, exercise, martial arts, automatic weapons, the insurance policy, burglar alarm, steering lock on the car. So in this way, our life is dedicated to protecting ourselves and finding for ourselves security in a hostile environment. And this experience permeates all of our thinking. And we cannot give it up. So, in order to protect ourselves, two things are important. Power, strength, power, and knowledge. Knowledge is also a kind of power. You may not be very strong, but if you know how to make a nuclear bomb, then everyone will leave your country alone. So knowledge is also power. So because we find ourselves, we perceive ourselves to be in a hostile environment. Actually, it's not true. God is everywhere. Everything is perfect, everything is okay. Only our vision is not okay. But because our vision is imperfect, then we see I'm in a hostile environment. Like a paranoid schizophrenic. Paranoid person is sitting in a room thinking, everyone is talking about me. What's he saying? She's talking about me. He's talking about me. Oh, maybe they put poison in my cup. What are they planning? To steal my money. Paranoid person. He thinks I am in a hostile environment because he's mad. So in this world, more or less everyone is mad. Because they think they are surrounded by dangers and everything, they have to protect themselves all the time. So for this you have to have education, good education. You can learn to become an accountant or a lawyer, memorize hundreds and hundreds of books. This knowledge is nothing. Only how to protect yourself, interact with other living beings and make a lot of money so that you can be safe and secure. But it's not any type of absolute knowledge. So, our lives are based about this, finding safety and security by acquiring strength and knowledge. Then, if you have any time, spare time left over, you can go to the Theosophical Society. And there you can try to understand God. Very nice. Not so many people are trying these days. It became unfashionable somehow or other. which is quite strange because God is so fashionable. Krishna is so cool, my. How he dresses, like, you know, high Baroque style. Amazing. So, anyway, if you have some time, you can try to understand who is God. So then you think, what is God like? So Michelangelo, he painted on the Sistine Chapel, God creating the world. Have you seen? Have you been to Rome? Yeah? Yeah. And God is like Arnold Schwarzenegger. All muscles and veins. Because he's strong, right? God is strong, so he has to have all muscles. And he must have all knowledge as well. So God also has a long white beard, because he takes a long time to learn all those things. So to be wise, you have to be old, have a beard, and to be strong, you have to have muscles and rippling veins sticking out everywhere. Then you can create. So we project onto God our value system of this world. God is the most powerful. And also the most intelligent. The most learned. And these things, this is not untrue. This is not untrue. That is true. However, the spiritual world is not like our world. In the spiritual world, there is no danger. There is no threat. There is happiness and spectrum of different varieties and colors of happiness also there. Not one monotonous forever. Varieties of beautiful emotions in many colors and flavors there. So because there's no danger, because there's no hostility, there's no threat, in the spiritual world, power and knowledge is worthless. Completely worthless. Because you don't need that. It's another value system completely. But due to our egocentricity, our experience, we project our worldly values onto our spiritual search and see God in terms of power and knowledge and become afraid. But their knowledge and power, that currency is not worth anything. I just came from India. If I go to the local shop and pull out some rupees, they'll look at me and throw it back. Sorry, you can't buy anything with these rupees here. So their power and knowledge, they have no currency. Their currency is only love and beauty. Love and beauty. But they are correlative terms. Because here, there's a duality between the body and the soul. So someone's soul or mind, they may have very good feelings and good mood, but the body is ugly. And someone may be outwardly very beautiful and inside very vicious and dangerous because of duality of body and soul. But in the spiritual world, there's no duality. So the spiritual body is the condensed manifestation of your loving mood. So more love you have, more beautiful you are. That is called in Sanskrit Satchit Ananda Vigraha. The body of Sat, eternity, Chit, pure consciousness, and Ananda, bliss. When Chit and Ananda are mixed together, they make bhav or love, emotion. So the forms there are made of eternal condensed spiritual emotion. All the colors and textures